What would you do if a blank page was too intimidating for a student? What would you do if a student lacks the literacy or math level needed to do the assignment? What would you do if a student needed more attention and prompting than you're able to give? What would you do if a student failed to take ownership of their work and played the blame game? Stop to look at it. She's got no eyebrows. Kind of creepy.
In today's episode, we're sharing our best behavior tips to combat helplessness and boost foundational skills and confidence.
Hi, art teachers.
Hey, art teachers.
I'm Kyle Wood, an elementary art teacher in the Chicago area.
I'm Liz Brent, and I'm a secondary art teacher from the Chicagoland area.
I did once convince a class of fourth graders to stand up on their desks and recite "Oh Captain, My Captain" on their teacher's last day before she moved out of state. But for me, though, the best moment was just a quiet, reflective moment. My graduating fifth graders were looking back at their old portfolios through kindergarten and first grade, and I heard a boy say, "Remember how awful I used to be?" Until he had said something, honestly, I had forgotten the struggle that he had for those early years where he was just really angry and lashing out and having a hard time. It was one of those moments that clicked with me of how lucky I am to get to see that long-term growth over these 6 years as students change in subtle ways you don't notice in the moment, but looking back, you see amazing progress.
Welcome to the Art of Ed's Draw the Line, where we tackle the wild and tricky behavior situations
art teachers face every day.
What would you do if a student is too anxious to participate?
Often the most difficult part is just getting them started. Try working together step by step on everything, including ideation. While I would normally never make a mark on a student's artwork, sometimes they need that little guide, and drawing a couple dots or lines to show them where to draw different lines and shapes can help them to just get moving in the process. One trick I like to use is I use my eraser to draw little dots as guides, so they have something they can see in the moment as they're getting started, but it doesn't leave a permanent mark on their paper. Focus on process with lessons that feel widely accessible. Try non-objective art, with the goal being just a use of a particular medium or exploring a principle of design. This helps build confidence in their ability to create without the pressure to have something look right. What would you do if a blank page was too intimidating for a student?
Offer them prompts or guided exercises to help them think. We have some great ones linked in the description box, one of which is called 5 Ways to Empower Students with Mini Masterpieces. Another great way to engage students is showing them a student work example. So what could the finished product look like? Show it long enough that they can get inspired, but don't have it up too long because then they start to stare and compare. You can also incorporate things that don't require a blank page, like mark making to get them started. Maybe they pass papers to somebody else, or maybe they start to just automatically apply color or collaging. So think of ways that don't require a blank page. What would you do if a student lacks the basic fine motor skills to complete the assignment?
Look for modifications and support. Maybe some steps I need to hold a ruler for a student while they draw the line. Maybe that student needs to do a different version of the assignment to meet them where they are, and then do some different exercises to build their motor skills. If fine motor is such a struggle that it's interfering with their ability to complete work at grade level, talk to specialists in your building to get that child the OT support that they need. Help your students build fine motor strength by integrating OT practices into your classroom. Try warm-up exercises like using Play-Doh and other manipulatives that are going to help them build hand strength and coordination. Or one of my favorite ideas, I actually pulled this from the magazine, was integrating ASL, American Sign Language, into your classroom. Teach students signs for things like when they need to go to the bathroom. It'll help them not only with their communication, but also building that fine motor strength.
There are so many simple activities and exercises that you can include in your current lessons to bolster fine motor skills and boost your artist confidence. We'll link our top recommendations below in the description box.
What would you do if a student lacks the literacy or math level needed to do the assignment?
It's time to think about your classroom from an inclusive lens. So how can you make your classroom more accessible for everyone? For literacy, maybe instead of just giving written instructions, you also provide verbal instructions, or have your strong readers read aloud, but also you can use a resource that would allow you to have level reading to access for every student. So if you have the flex curriculum, you can see the resources like artist bios provide reading at different levels. With that, you can provide reading assignments at different levels for everyone so they can use the one they're most comfortable with. This kind of leads to universal design, the idea that if everyone gets what they need, everyone can be successful. So think with your so-called struggling students in mind to create a classroom that is successful for everyone. For example, let's say you're teaching a portrait lesson and you're teaching the gridding method, but you have some students with maybe motor skills who might struggle with that. You can pre-mark the paper for them or provide them a pre-gridded paper, or even offer the option for tracing to get the practice of still sketching things in, but just in a different way. To get more helpful strategies, check out the article linked below. What do the 7 principles of universal design look like in the art room?
One way I boost foundational skills is by focusing on the elements of art and the principles of design. I absolutely love the animated flex videos that explain the elements and principles to students, and I just focus on like 1 or 2 per lesson and have students make abstract compositions. One pro tip though, I start by masking off the perimeter because it gives students a little sense of security knowing that at the end of this, no matter what they make, as they're focusing on experimenting with lines and shapes, they're gonna get that satisfying moment of peeling off the tape and seeing that bright white outline that just makes everything look so neat and polished.
What would you do if a student required more attention and prompting than you're able to give?
Sometimes the arrangement of the space can make all the difference. I keep 2 flexible seating areas in my room. One is for students who need a little bit of space. The other is for students who might need a little extra help. I keep a table right in front of my smartboard, and on the board during independent work time, I keep a video demonstration playing in just a constant loop.
I would ask another student to support them. If it seems like that student may feel singled out, I will pause and then ask everyone to either partner up or group up with someone else to assist each other with the task at hand.
A lot of teachers will use a rule like 3 before me to encourage peer support, but I really liked Jen's presentation at the NOW conference where she talked about the art class friend being the person sitting next to you in class, that being the first line of support. And then if you need more help, you might go to the squad, the whole group at your table, before going to the classroom level or reaching out to the teacher.
It's also a great idea to set the expectation at the beginning of the year that everybody will work together to be successful. So it'll be up to the different tables of students or groups that you have to support each other in what they need. And it helps them to lean on each other and build community. What would you do if a student kept saying they're not good at art or their art looks bad?
Start by acknowledging their feelings and recognize it's okay to feel frustrated when that picture in your head doesn't match the picture on your paper. Point out that we're here at school to practice and learn the skills so that we can eventually get to that point of creating work that matches our vision. And I might add, in the history of the world, there has never been a perfect work of art. Even something as amazing and legendary as the Mona Lisa. Stop to look at it. She's got no eyebrows, kind of creepy. But also, there's a lot that is absolutely beautiful about that work if we just stop to look for the good in a piece. I would then point out the good that I see in that student's artwork and offer them some suggestions on things to consider for further growth, but always take time to recognize the good.
Story time about a student who was behind and I helped them catch up. We worked together to look at their missing assignments and write them down, and I would send them reminder emails. So I would send a weekly update like, hey, this is how you did this week. Great work doing, XYZ. Here's what's next. Here's your current grade. And every time they turn something in, I would celebrate that, respond to that email, let them know. I think that praise really helped them to see this is nice. I'm getting quick feedback. I also created a daily task sheet to help them map out their time better. So when they did come to class, they had a list of things to do. So they knew what to do every day and they couldn't just get lost in having so many things and not knowing where to start.
What would you do if a student failed to take ownership of their work and played the blame game?
I would ask them to talk me through it. What can be improved in the artwork instead of asking them what could they improve on? Because they could get defensive if you make it seem as if, they did something wrong. Try to get them to really talk about their process, what they did, and how they see the assignment. Always check in with students constantly about every step of the project from the planning to when they get started working. Ask them questions, have them explain what they're doing, what they're thinking. Add some type of element that allows them to choose either what they're making or how they're making it or what it's about. It would automatically make it a part of them and therefore lead to some more ownership of it.
If you don't want to miss any more of our best behavior tips to help you draw the line in your art room, be sure to like this video and subscribe to The Art of Ed.
If you're looking for strategies to improve attitudes in the art room, don't miss the next episode.
Share in the comments below how you draw the line when it comes to helplessness in your classroom.
We love to hear your tips for building skills and confidence.
Stay tuned.
See you in the next episode.